Morning, my dear YouTube viewers. Today we will switch over to the methods and techniques. What is the scientific method? The unique and most distinctive feature of scientific method is its ability and capacity to obtain definite general and variable knowledge. In a wider sense, the method of investigation by which scientific or any other impartial systematic knowledge is required is called the scientific method. All constituent elements of scientific method, namely observation, experimentation, classification, and explanation, also exhibit their systematic nature. Lundberg said, the main difference between our day-to-day generalizations and conclusions usually recognized as a scientific method, which lies in the degree of formality, rigorousness, verifiability, and general validity of the latter. The belief in causal relationship existing in natural and social phenomenon, which is the backbone of the scientific method because it can easily predict the future. Those are 6 types of scientific methods, such as induction method, deduction method, historical method, comparison, structural method, and functional method. Induction method, the movement of knowledge from particular facts to the general as a rule of principle, which is known as induction, whereas deduction is a movement of knowledge from general facts to the specific. You see the difference in the induction from particular to general, whereas in deduction general to particular. This is the difference between these two. Then third one is historical. This method is a backward movement as knowledge to trace the antecedent cause or causes of phenomenon. Next, comparative. Analysis and comparison comes under the comparative phenomenon or method to trace out the new facts and relations. Next, structural method. A study of what a thing is, what are its outlines and significant features is a structural study. Example, anatomy is a structural study. Next, functional method. In contrast to the structural method, functional method studies the process of and its causes, how and why will rise to the thing. Physiology is a functional study. Next, induction and deduction acts as main pillars in every science. These two are works on the logical sense. The historical method has proved fruitful results and its application for the both social and physical sciences. The comparative method is used in physical and biological, social, anthropological and psychological and the psychology subjects too. But structure and functional methods are complementary to each other. Basically, its main aim is to study the facts, verification of hypotheses, classification and analysis of facts in order to draw the general conclusions. This scientific method involves not only the discovery of new facts and also test the predictable practical validity, ideas and theories. In facts, if facts confirm our theory, then it will turn into law or rule or principle. Methods of techniques. Up to this we studied method. Now we will switch over to the techniques, methods of techniques. There is a difference between methods and techniques. Those are listed below. Essential difference. A scientific method is a systematic study of a limited and definite subject matter. Second, on the other hand, the technique means the actual procedure of collecting and ordering the data. Example, the method of data collection is one and same for pure and social sciences research, but the techniques may be different. In social sciences, particularly in the field area, we used the techniques such as interview, questions, schedule. Whereas in physical sciences, prism, simple pendulum, burette, pipette, beaker, and some other instrument related to the physics or the chemistry department. Then biological sciences, microscope, and also we should use the dissection instrument to cut the animals. Next, a method is common to all sciences but technique is not. A scientific method is like observation, noting down, classification, generalization, verification are all common for all sciences, that is pure and the social sciences. But the techniques are different depending upon the nature of research. Example, archaeologists used carbon dating technique. In sociology, people use it to send the questionnaire to the other people through the post. Now we are using the WhatsApp procedure also. For pure sciences, if it is for pure sciences, microscope to telescope, we are using the instruments. That's why we can say method is common and techniques is uncommon for all sciences. Third, methods are different, definite, and techniques are indefinite. Every method has a fixed outlay and follows the scheduled steps. Every method passes 5 phases in fixed order. Those are observation, noting, classification, generalization and verification. This we used as a method under method category. But techniques are keep on changing. In another hand, method is another word step. Method is underived but techniques are derivative. Observation is a scientific method as in the form of with device or without device. Former one. Example, microscope, and later one is observed through directly with the naked eyes. So for the pure sciences we used the microscope or some other telescope, whereas in the social sciences we use it with the observation with our naked eyes without any devices. So pure sciences used the devices, social sciences no need to use the devices or in case of observation only. Therefore one can say that method is an independent technique but techniques are dependent on method. Very important. So technique is always depend on the methodology. Next, the difference of aim. The scientific method is systematic knowledge of subject matter. Aim of the technique is merely collection of and ordering of facts. So technique is always inferior to the method. So the aim of the method is includes the aim of the technique, but aim of the technique does not include the wider aim of the method. Please have the clarity. Next, difference of kinds. The main scientific methods are induction. So you observe, not ordinary methods. Scientific methods are induction, deduction, comparison, historical, structural and functional. This is scientific method. Whereas the techniques of social research. Now I am not using the science word. The techniques of social, the word is social sciences research. That is observation, historical documents, questionnaire, schedule, interview and case study also. By this, the conclusion of generalizations depends on multiple facts. So, induction and deduction are both used to study the social phenomenon. Once again, we will review the subject matter. Methods and techniques. What is a scientific method? The unique and most distinctive feature of the scientific method is its ability and capability to obtain the definite and general and variable knowledge. In a wider sense, the method of investigation by which scientific or any other impartial systematic knowledge is required is called as scientific method. All constituent elements of scientific method is namely observation, experimentation, classification and explanation also exhibit their systematic in nature. Lundberg said the main difference between the day-to-day generalizations and conclusions usually recognized as a scientific method, which lies on the degree of formality, rigorousness, verifiability, and general validity of the latter. The belief in causal relationship existing in natural and social phenomenon is the backbone of the scientific method because it can easily predict the future. There are 6 forms of scientific methods such as induction, deduction, historical, comparative, structural, and functional. Induction, the movement of knowledge from particular facts to a general as a rule of principle is known as induction. Deduction, a movement of knowledge from general facts to the specific. Historical, this method is a backward movement as knowledge to trace the antecedent cause or cause of phenomenon. Comparative, analysis and comparison come under the comparative phenomenon or method to trace out the new facts or relations. A study of what a thing is, what are its outlines and significant features is a structural study. Example, anatomy is a structural study. It comes under the structural method. Then functional method is, in contrast to the structural method, functional method studies a process and its causes, that is how and why will rise to the thing. Example, physiology is a functional study. Induction and deduction acts as main pillars in every science. Though these two are works on logical sense. The historical method has proved fruitful results and its application for both social and physical sciences. The comparative method is used in physical, biological, social, anthropology and psychology too. Both structure and functional methods are complement to each other. Basically, its main aim is to study the facts, verification of hypothesis, classification, analysis of facts in order to draw the conclusions. The scientific method involves not only the discovery of new facts and also test the practical validity, ideas and theories. In fact, if facts confirm our theory, then it will turn into law, rule or principle. Methods of techniques. There is a difference between the methods and techniques. Those are listed below. Essential difference. Number 1. The scientific method is a systematic study of a limited and definite subject matter. On the other hand, techniques means the actual procedure of collecting and ordering the data. Example, the method of collection is one and same for pure and social researches. But the techniques may be different. That is, in social sciences, particularly in the field area, they used the interview, questionnaire, schedule, case study, etc. In physical sciences, they used the devices, prisms, simple pendulum, burette, pipette, beaker and some other related devices. If it is biological sciences, microscope, dissection box, something like that. Next, a method is common to all sciences, but technique is not. Under this, a scientific method like observation, noting down, classification, generalization, and verification are common for all sciences. But the techniques are different depending upon the nature of research. Example, archaeologists used carbon dating technique. In sociology, mailed the questionnaire for the few, that is, they will post the questionnaire to the respondent. But for pure sciences, microscope to telescope, the devices they are using. That's why we can say method is common and techniques are uncommon for all sciences. The third category, methods are different and methods are definite and techniques are indefinite. Every method has a fixed outlay and follows the scheduled steps. Every method possesses 5 definite phases in a fixed order. Those are observation, noting, classification, generalization and verification. But techniques are keep on changing to one to another. Fourth stage. Method is underived, but techniques are derivative. Observation is a scientific method, as in the form of with device or without device. For the former one, that is a device, some biologists, scholars used the microscope, so that is the pure research scholar used the telescope. And later one it is observed that directly the research scholars used in social sciences the observation with their naked eyes. Here there is no specific device. Therefore, one can say that the method is an independent technique, but technique are dependent on method. Very important statement, these two. Next, fifth phase, the difference of aim. The scientific method is systematic knowledge of subject matter. Aim of the technique is merely collection and ordering of facts. So, the technique is always inferior to the method. The aim of the method is that includes aim of the technique, but the aim of the technique does not include the wider aim of the method. So here who is the wider one? Method is the top and the technique is the second level. Okay, difference of kinds. The main scientific methods are, you listen carefully, scientific methods are induction, deduction, compassion, historical, structure and function. But the main techniques of social research, here we are specifying only the in the social sciences what type of techniques that we are utilizing at the research activity. That is observation, study historical documents, questionnaire, schedule, interview and case study. Finally, the conclusion of generalizations depends on multiple facts. So, induction and deduction are both used to study the social phenomenon. By this, today's lecture is completed. And be careful, here it is methods are different from the techniques. By hearting the action research oriented dialogues, first you should have the basic knowledge like this: what is method, what is technique. So it's okay. So this is Bindu taking leave from the YouTube platform.